You see, in life, people will tell you who they are not with their words, but with their actions. Pay attention, because appreciation, it isn't spoken, it's shown. Now, I want you to hear me on this. Knowing your worth is the most powerful armor you'll ever wear. When someone doesn't see your value, it's not your job to convince them. It's your job to honor yourself enough to walk away. Self-worth is the foundation upon which a fulfilling life is built. It's not something that can be handed to you, nor is it something that can be taken away by someone else. It is intrinsic, rooted deep within your soul, and it defines how you see yourself and how you allow others to treat you. Knowing your value isn't about arrogance or pride, it's about understanding that you have a unique purpose and that your presence in this world is significant. Too often, people allow their self-worth to be dictated by external circumstances, by the opinions of others, by societal expectations, or by fleeting moments of failure. But here's the truth: your worth is non-negotiable. It does not diminish because someone doesn't see it, and it does not increase because someone finally recognizes it. It simply is. When you know your value, you carry yourself differently. You speak with conviction, you act with intention, and you stop seeking validation from those who are unwilling or unable to give it. The world is filled with voices, some that will lift you up and others that will try to tear you down. But the loudest voice you'll ever hear is the one inside your head. That voice must be your greatest ally, reminding you daily of your worth. If you don't value yourself, you open the door for others to undervalue you too. People can only treat you as poorly as you allow them to. When you stand firm in your self-worth, you set a standard that says, this is how I expect to be treated, and anything less is unacceptable. Knowing your worth doesn't mean you'll never face rejection or disrespect. Those moments will come, but they don't define you. In fact, they often reveal more about the other person than they do about you. Someone's inability to recognize your value says nothing about who you are, it says everything about who they are. When you truly understand this, you stop taking their actions personally. You begin to see rejection as redirection, a nudge from life steering you toward people and opportunities that align with the greatness within you. Never let anyone make you feel small, because you are not small. You are expansive, you are filled with potential, with dreams, with the capacity to change the world in ways that only you can. Shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's narrow view is a disservice to your own soul. It's a betrayal of the person you were created to be. You don't need to dim your light to make others comfortable. Shine unapologetically, even if your brightness makes others squint. Life will test you. It will put you in situations where your self-worth is questioned, where you're tempted to compromise it for acceptance or approval. In those moments, remember, you are not for sale. Your value isn't up for negotiation. Stand tall. Walk away if you must. And know this: your worth isn't something you prove, it's something you live. Respect is the cornerstone of every meaningful relationship, whether it's personal, professional, or even the relationship you have with yourself. It is the foundation upon which trust, appreciation, and love are built. Without respect, no relationship can thrive, and without respect, appreciation cannot exist. Respect is not just an act, it's an attitude, a way of valuing another person for who they are, their individuality, their rights, and their contributions. It's the recognition that every person, regardless of their role in your life, is deserving of dignity and fairness. In any relationship, respect begins with how we treat one another. It is about listening when someone speaks, honoring their feelings, and valuing their perspective even when it differs from our own. Respect doesn't mean you have to agree with someone all the time, but it does mean you must acknowledge their right to their opinions and their experiences. When respect is present, communication becomes easier, conflicts are resolved with greater understanding, and both people feel seen and heard. In its absence, however, misunderstandings grow, resentment festers, and the relationship begins to crumble under the weight of neglect and disregard. Without respect, appreciation becomes an empty gesture. You cannot truly value someone if you do not first respect them. Consider this: appreciation is more than saying thank you or offering compliments. True appreciation stems from recognizing the worth of another person, not just for what they do, but for who they are. But how can you recognize someone's worth if you do not respect them? If you dismiss their contributions, belittle their efforts, or overlook their feelings, any attempt at showing appreciation will ring hollow. People can sense insincerity, and no amount of superficial gratitude can replace the genuine acknowledgement that respect provides. Respect also creates a sense of safety and mutual understanding in relationships. When people feel respected, they are more likely to open up, to share their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. This openness, in turn, fosters deeper connections. On the other hand, when respect is absent, people begin to withdraw. They become guarded, defensive, or even apathetic. Over time, the relationship becomes strained and appreciation becomes less frequent because the underlying respect that fuels it is missing. Respect must also be mutual. A one-sided relationship where only one person's voice is valued or their needs are prioritized is not sustainable. Respect is about equality, recognizing that both people bring something unique and valuable to the table. In romantic relationships, respect ensures that love doesn't become possessive or controlling. In friendships, it ensures loyalty and trust. In professional settings, it fosters collaboration and teamwork. In every context, respect lays the groundwork for the relationship to grow and flourish. Ultimately, respect is not just about how you treat others, but also about how you teach them to treat you. By respecting yourself and setting boundaries, you send a clear message that you expect the same in return. When respect is present, appreciation naturally follows, and relationships become a source of strength, joy, and fulfillment. Silence, in its many forms, can be one of the most powerful indicators of truth. Often, what is not said carries more weight than what is spoken. In relationships, whether personal or professional, the absence of gratitude speaks louder than any words ever could. A lack of appreciation reveals far more about someone's intentions, values, and priorities than they may realize. Silence, when gratitude should be present, is not just a passive oversight. It is often an active reflection of how someone perceives you and the role you play in their life. Gratitude is not something that needs to be grand or extravagant. It can be as simple as a heartfelt thank you or a genuine acknowledgement of effort. But when gratitude is consistently missing, it creates a void that signals something deeper. It shows that your contributions, whether they're acts of kindness, support, or hard work, are being taken for granted. This silence is often a red flag, a quiet message that what you bring to the table is not truly valued. It may mean that the other person feels entitled to your effort, viewing it as something expected rather than something to be appreciated. Over time, this lack of acknowledgement can chip away at the foundation of any relationship. Gratitude is a form of respect. It's a way of saying, I see you and I value what you've done. When someone consistently fails to show appreciation, it creates an imbalance. You may find yourself giving more than you receive, pouring your energy into a dynamic where the other person is content to take without giving back. That silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their priorities and often their true intentions. It's important to understand that gratitude isn't just about words, it's about actions too. People who genuinely value you don't just express their thanks verbally, they show it through their behavior. They reciprocate your kindness, support your efforts, and make you feel like an important part of their lives. When these actions are missing and silence fills the gap, it becomes clear that their intentions may not align with the respect and appreciation you deserve. In some cases, this silence may stem from insecurity or emotional immaturity. Some people struggle to express gratitude because they feel it makes them vulnerable, as if acknowledging your value diminishes their own. Others may simply lack the emotional awareness to recognize the importance of gratitude. But regardless of the reason, a consistent lack of appreciation is not something to ignore. It is a sign that the relationship is out of balance and that your worth is not being properly recognized. Silence can be deafening when it comes to gratitude. It reminds us to pay attention not just to what people say, but to what they don't say. If someone cannot acknowledge your value, it may be time to reevaluate the relationship. Remember, your efforts, time, and energy are precious, and they should be met with the respect and gratitude they deserve. Let silence guide you, not into resentment, but into clarity and action. Walking away from situations where you are undervalued is one of the most courageous decisions you can make. It is not a sign of weakness, nor is it an admission of defeat. Instead, it is an act of self-respect, self-awareness, and strength. To walk away means that you recognize your own worth and refuse to settle for less than what you deserve. It requires bravery to leave behind the familiar, even when that familiarity is laced with pain, discomfort, or disrespect. It takes strength to acknowledge that staying is no longer serving you, even when leaving feels uncertain or difficult. Many people stay in situations where they are undervalued because they fear the unknown. They convince themselves that staying is easier, that maybe things will change, or that their loyalty and patience will eventually be rewarded. But staying in an environment where you are not appreciated often causes more harm than good. It slowly chips away at your confidence, your joy, and your sense of self. The longer you stay in a space where your contributions are overlooked or your presence is taken for granted, the more you begin to internalize that treatment as normal. Walking away is a powerful way to reclaim your sense of value and set a standard for how you deserve to be treated. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. In fact, it often means you care deeply about yourself, your well-being, and your future. It's about recognizing that staying in a situation that diminishes you is not worth the toll it takes on your mental, emotional, or even physical health. It's about prioritizing your peace and happiness over the comfort of familiarity or the fear of disappointing others. Walking away is an act of love for yourself. It's a way of saying, I deserve better, and I am brave enough to pursue it. Leaving situations where you are undervalued can be especially hard when you've invested time, energy, or emotion. Whether it's a relationship, a job, or a friendship, walking away might feel like giving up on everything you've built. But it's important to remember that your worth is not tied to how much you've invested in something that no longer serves you. Letting go doesn't erase your efforts or invalidate your experiences. It simply means you've chosen to stop pouring yourself into something that isn't pouring back into you. Walking away also sends a clear message to others and to yourself. To others, it shows that you will not tolerate being treated as less than you deserve. It sets boundaries and demands respect. To yourself, it reinforces that you are willing to make tough decisions to protect your dignity and self-respect. It is an empowering reminder that you are in control of your own life and happiness. Space is a powerful teacher. When you step away from a situation, a relationship, or an environment, you gain clarity that often eludes you when you're in the thick of it. Distance creates perspective, allowing both you and others to see things in a new light. Sometimes the closeness we maintain with certain people or circumstances can cloud our judgment. We become so entrenched in our daily interactions that we fail to notice the imbalances, the lack of appreciation, or the ways we may have been taken for granted. Space allows those blind spots to come into focus. When you create distance, it gives others the chance to recognize your worth. Often people fail to appreciate what they have when it's readily available. It's human nature to take things for granted when they seem constant or guaranteed. Your presence, your kindness, your effort, it can all become part of the background noise for someone who has grown accustomed to it. But when you step away, you disrupt that familiarity. Suddenly, the things they took for granted are no longer there, and the void left behind forces them to confront what you brought to their life. In that silence, your worth speaks louder than any words ever could. However, distance is not only about what others realize, it's also about what you discover. Space gives you the opportunity to reflect, to evaluate what truly matters, and to see people and situations for what they really are. Sometimes, when you step back, you realize that the appreciation or respect you were waiting for was never going to come. The distance reveals who values you enough to bridge the gap and who lets the space remain empty. It's a profound and sometimes painful truth. Those who truly value you will show it, even when you're not standing right in front of them. Perspective gained through distance also helps you reassess your priorities. When you're too close to something, your emotions can cloud your judgment, making it difficult to make decisions that serve your best interests. Space allows you to detach, to observe without the weight of immediate emotions, and to ask yourself important questions. Am I being valued? Am I giving too much without receiving enough in return? Is this relationship or situation aligned with my worth and my goals? The answers to these questions often become clearer when you step back. Sometimes distance strengthens bonds, and other times it exposes cracks that were already there. Both outcomes are valuable because they bring truth to the surface. If someone recognizes your worth in your absence, it can lead to a stronger, healthier connection. But if the distance reveals indifference or a lack of effort on their part, it shows you where you truly stand in their life. Ultimately, creating space is not about playing games or testing others. It's about clarity. It's about giving yourself and others the opportunity to see what's real and what's worth holding on to. Space can bring perspective, and with perspective comes the wisdom to make decisions that honor your worth and protect your peace. Protecting your peace is one of the most important acts of self-care you can practice. Life is too short and too precious to spend in places or with people who fail to recognize your worth and the greatness you carry within you. Your peace is the foundation of your well-being, your clarity, and your ability to thrive. Without it, even the best opportunities or achievements can feel hollow. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary. It's a way of safeguarding your energy, your mental health, and your ability to live a life aligned with your purpose. Too often, people remain in environments or relationships that diminish their peace. They tolerate disrespect, disregard, or indifference because they fear change or because they've convinced themselves that things might improve. But the truth is, staying in spaces where you are not valued comes at a high cost. It drains your spirit, clouds your judgment, and leaves you feeling small. Life is too short to let others chip away at your joy and self-worth. When someone or something constantly disrupts your peace, it's a signal that it may be time to step away. Protecting your peace begins with recognizing your own greatness. You have unique gifts, talents, and qualities that make you who you are. Not everyone will see or appreciate those qualities, but that doesn't diminish their value. The right people will recognize your worth without you having to fight for their acknowledgement. Those who truly value you will contribute to your peace, not take from it. They will uplift you, support you, and make you feel seen. On the other hand, those who overlook your greatness or treat you as less than you deserve will only bring chaos into your life. Protecting your peace means drawing a line and deciding that you will not tolerate being in spaces where you are undervalued. It's important to understand that protecting your peace is not about running from challenges or avoiding difficult situations. Life will always have its ups and downs, and growth often requires discomfort. But there's a difference between temporary struggles and toxic environments. Temporary struggles test you, but they also help you grow. Toxic environments, however, erode your spirit and leave you depleted. The courage to protect your peace comes from knowing the difference and being willing to make hard choices to prioritize your well-being. Walking away from people or situations that disrupt your peace is not easy, especially if you've invested time, energy, or emotion into them. But staying in those situations often means sacrificing your happiness and potential. You cannot pour into others or pursue your dreams fully if you are constantly drained. Protecting your peace allows you to focus on what truly matters and surround yourself with people and opportunities that align with your purpose. Life is too short to settle for anything that dims your light. Protecting your peace is a commitment to yourself, a declaration that you deserve joy, respect, and fulfillment. It's not about isolating yourself, but about choosing environments and relationships that nurture your greatness. When you protect your peace, you create the space to live a life that reflects your true worth. In life, one of the most empowering lessons we can embrace is that our worth is non-negotiable. From knowing when to walk away from places and people who fail to appreciate us, to protecting our peace at all costs, these choices define how we value ourselves. Walking away from situations that do not serve you is not weakness but strength. It takes courage to recognize when you are being undervalued, and even more courage to leave behind what is familiar and step into the unknown. But in doing so, you reclaim your power, your dignity, and your sense of self. Life has a way of teaching us through silence and distance. When you walk away, you give people the space to reflect. In that space, they either recognize your worth or reveal their lack of effort to value it. Either outcome is a blessing. Distance grants clarity, not just for others, but for yourself. It shows you who truly respects you and who is only comfortable with taking your presence for granted. And even if that realization is painful, it's a gift that sets you free to surround yourself with the people and opportunities that truly align with your value. Respect is at the heart of it all. Without respect, no relationship can thrive. It is the foundation upon which appreciation is built. Where respect exists, gratitude follows naturally. But where respect is missing, no amount of patience, effort, or sacrifice can create genuine connection. By respecting yourself enough to demand respect from others, you teach the world how to treat you. Self-worth is a standard you set, and when you hold to it firmly, you not only protect yourself, but also inspire others to rise to meet that standard. Walking away also reminds us of the power of protecting our peace. Life is too short to spend in places or with people who fail to see your greatness. Your energy, your time, and your presence are gifts, and they should only be shared with those who value them. Protecting your peace is not about avoiding challenges, but about setting boundaries that prioritize your well-being. It's about choosing environments that uplift you, relationships that nurture your spirit, and goals that align with your purpose. Ultimately, the strength to walk away, create space, and protect your peace comes down to recognizing your greatness. You were not created to dim your light for anyone. You were not meant to settle for being tolerated when you deserve to be celebrated. Every time you choose yourself, whether it's by leaving a toxic relationship, stepping back from a draining situation, or saying no to what doesn't serve you, you reaffirm your worth. You tell the world and yourself that you will not accept less than the respect, appreciation, and fulfillment you deserve. Life is a journey of constant growth and self-discovery. Along the way, you will encounter people and situations that test your resolve. But never forget this: your worth is not determined by others. It is defined by how you treat yourself and the boundaries you set. Stand firm in your value, protect your peace, and have the courage to walk away when necessary. In doing so, you create space for the life you truly deserve, a life filled with respect, joy, and purpose. Don't let anyone dim your light because they're too blind to see it. Protect your peace. Protect your energy, protect your heart. Walk away, not in anger, not in bitterness, but in love for yourself. And when you walk away, don't look back, because the road ahead, that's where your greatness is waiting. Stay focused, stay driven, and remember, appreciation isn't just what you deserve, it's what you demand. Now go claim it.